So let's first look at the first few terms in this sequence. So it says that we're getting a contract for $40,000. That's our money amount in year one. So we're interested in finding out, okay, what does this look like for the next few years? So for example, in year two, how much money am I making if I'm being guaranteed a 3.5% raise? Well, one way to compute the amount of money you'll make in year two would be to multiply your 40,000 by 0.035. That's going to give us the raise amount, how much we're going to increase our pay by. So then you'd have to add back the $40,000 to get your total amount that you'll make in year two. But if you take a look at this computation, we have two terms and they have 40,000 in common. So if you think of this as factoring out of 40,000, we'll be left with 0.035 plus 1. So really, if you want to start with your $40,000, you would multiply it by 1.035 to determine how much money you'd make the next year. So 40,000 times 1.035 should give us $41,400. So then if you multiply that by 1.035 again, then we would get $42,849 for the amount of my contract in the third year. So what's happening here as we go from one term to the next is that we are multiplying by 1.035. So multiplying by 1.035 repetitively tells us two things. One, it tells us that this sequence is a geometric sequence, since we're multiplying by a common value each time. And it also tells us the value of the R, the common ratio. Our R value is 1.035. So now we're interested in finding out what our contract will be the 8th year that we work for the company. So essentially that's asking us for the 8th term. So we want to write a formula for this sequence of numbers. So in general, a geometric sequence can be written as a sub 1, the first term, times r raised to the n minus 1 power. So we're interested in a sub 8. Well, our a sub 1 is 40,000. The first term of the sequence, r, is 1.035. And then we'll raise that to the 8 minus 1 power, or raise that to the 7th power. So the 8th year I work for the company, my contract amount is going to be $50,891.17 if you round to the hundredth. So there's our answer for part A. Part B, how much will you have made total over the past 8 years? So now we're looking total, meaning we would want to take our terms, 40,000 for the first year, 41,400 for the second, and so on, and we want to add these amounts up. We want to add our contract amounts every single year for the first 8 years. So this becomes a sum. So remember, the sum of terms in a geometric sequence will be found by taking the first term times 1 minus r to the n power divided by 1 minus r. So in this case, we want the sum of the first 8 terms. So s sub 8, our first term is 40,000, 1 minus 1.035 raised to the 8th power, all divided by 1 minus the common ratio, which is 1.035. So definitely try to put this in your calculator on your own. Pause the video to be sure that you get the same amount that I do. And just remember, if you are going to enter it all in at one time, you will want to put parentheses around the denominator. So this should give us a total amount for 8 years of $362,067.47. $362,067.47 is our total compensation for the past 8 years.